Hello everybody, I'm James T. Horn, author of Good Husband, Great Sex, The Married Guy's Guide to Getting Laid. Let me ask you a question. Why don't we have sex? I mean, what the heck's going on, right? I mean, let me put it another way. Why don't we have sex as often as we would like? Or, why don't we have sex as often as we should? Some people don't realize that you should have sex, did you? Well, for the purposes of discussion, I'm going to assume that everybody listening and watching is either married or in a serious, committed relationship. So let's get right down to it. I'm going to start with reasons 2 through 7 and not spend much time on each of them. Reason number 2, you're always too tired. I think that's a lame reason. It's a good excuse, but a lame reason. Something else has to give. Reason number 3, no time. No time is a ridiculous excuse. You make time for anything that's important to you, right? I mean, you schedule it just like you schedule time at the gym, like you schedule a meeting at work. And the kids, they don't take priority over this. If they do, once they're out of the house, there is likely to be not any marriage left. No time is often just a smokescreen for a bad marriage. So please get your priorities straight. Reason number 4, and this applies mostly to women, it's painful. And if this is the case, I really feel for you. If you experience pain during a loving sexual encounter, please seek medical help. Don't allow pain to be a reason you can't experience physical intimacy with your mate. I mean, if you had a pain in the tooth every time you chewed, you'd go to a dentist, right? Well, if you're a woman and you experience discomfort because your partner is insensitive, rough, and uncaring, then you guys have some deeper issues to deal with in your relationship. And as a woman, I would seriously consider some separation and looking at alternatives. Reason number 5, psychological barriers. These can include disempowering beliefs about sex, bad experiences that have left emotional scars, and an emotional disconnect between you and your mate, or the belief that everything has to be just perfect for you to have sex. I mean, if you're waiting for everything to be just right all the time, the conditions to be just perfect to have sex, most people are never going to have sex. Reason number 6, ED, erectile dysfunction. You can't get it up. I tell you guys, if you don't have sex because of erectile dysfunction, like I said to the ladies, get some help. I mean, if your car doesn't start, what do? You take it in to get it fixed. There's nothing to be ashamed of. If your car can't get fixed, then what do? Do you stay home the rest of your life and never leave the house? Heck no. You use alternative methods of transportation. I mean, just because your noodle's limp doesn't mean you can't have sex. There are other tools in the toolbox. I mean, if you're a guy, do you think it's fair to your wife that she be deprived of sexual gratification just because your wood is soggy? I mean, it could be that there's no problem at all, that it could all be psychological. You might try working on your relationship and implementing some of the principles in my book, Good Husband, Great Sex. And don't worry about the sex for a while. Desire can't be forced. It's a dynamic that happens spontaneously and unpredictably, and I teach how to bring that dynamic back into your relationship. Reason number 7, nobody wants to have sex with you. Well, if that's the case, there's not much I can do for you. I mean, we can identify the factors and work on those, but you're kind of on your own there. There's too many possibilities to contemplate, so all I can say is get your act together. So, let's get to reason number 1. The number 1 reason that couples don't have sex, no desire. They have no desire for sex. They have no desire, period, let alone for each other. You don't desire it, she doesn't desire it, or maybe both of you don't desire it. So what's wrong with that, huh? I mean, if neither one of you desire it, what's the big deal, right? Well, let me tell you something. Generally speaking, no sex in a marriage is the death knell for that marriage. Unless, of course, you're just both content with just having a relationship instead of a marriage, But did you know what the primary difference is between a friendship and a marriage? Sex. But I'm getting a little bit off the subject here. So, why no desire? Well, there could be a number of reasons that I could contribute to lack of desire, including health problems, hormonal imbalances, stress, and maybe one could be really poor hygiene. But the one that I want to focus on here is lack of polarity. In other words, you've lost attraction to each other. You know, the magnetism that drew you together in the beginning and made things so exciting. You know, you can love each other deeply, but not turn each other on anymore. The reasons that you may have lost it include lack of romance, focus on negativity in each other, a loss of individuality, and familiarity. Too much familiarity in particular. Familiarity is a desire killer. It's one of the great paradoxes of marriage. I mean, one of the reasons that we get married is that we want to preserve the experience that we're having with this person when we're dating and when we're courting them. I mean, we want the feeling to go on forever. We want that feeling of being loved to go on and on. We want to perpetuate it. We want to preserve it. We want to take our lover off the market and claim them as our own. So what do? We get married and we learn most everything there is to learn about the other person. We subjugate our individuality in the process. We adopt our mate's habits. We shape our lives together. We grow closer and we grow more similar. We begin to anticipate everything. Everything becomes predictable. What I've just described is likely a good marriage. I mean, when people say we have a good marriage, they're describing these dynamics. A relationship where there's nothing left to discover. There's no surprise. There's no uncertainty. There's trust. There's comfort. There's security. There's familiarity. All the things that make up a good relationship. But no passion. The intrigue is gone. The passion has evaporated. The animal magnetism just doesn't show up anymore. So what do? Well, for one, you get into my book, Good Husband, Great Marriage, because Great Sex, because I deal with these issues and I teach you how to bring it back. However, I will tell you this. Couples sometimes just have to choose sex. Make it part of your schedule, like eating and going to the gym. I mean, if you do this, you might be happily surprised that you both have forgotten how much you really enjoy it. I mean, if you find also that, you might also find that it adds to your level of emotional intimacy and connection and may ultimately spark latent desire. But that's just sex. There's a big difference between sex, making love, and eroticism. I mean, you can choose to have sex anytime you want, which by all means has its virtue, trust me. But the desire to make love, the compelling passion to rip each other's clothes off, it can't be planned for. It's totally spontaneous and there's no secret formula for it. I mean, there's no mechanics or technique involved to make that happen. There's no step-by-step formula and that you can follow to inspire that kind of passion to just happen. Passion, desire, and eroticism is a spontaneous experience. It's unanticipated and it's unexpected. It comes without pressure. It's unscheduled. Desire is fueled by scarcity. And scarcity isn't something we experience in a loving, close, intimate, good relationship. It surfaces when you experience intrigue, curiosity, mystery, polarity, and fun together.